17 lifetimes ago. Good to be here with y'all. I appreciate those of you who've joined, and I'm excited to share this project with you. I know some of you on the call have seen the Gen Thrive project, have participated in it, so thank you. And the time has come for us to be able to share all of the results of it and be able to sort of demonstrate how this can be applicable to your work. So I kind of created some cliff notes and a little presentation that I'll share with y'all. But if any questions come up, I'm not opposed to people interrupting. But if you want to throw something in the chat, maybe Sarah or Haley could interrupt me and tell me what that is, because it's hard to see both of those at the same time. Otherwise, we'll leave some time for questions at the end as well. So I'm going to go ahead and screen share. Someone wants to just give me the go that it's working. You can see the good old PowerPoint. Okay, great. All righty. There we go. So just a little background on EcoRise. You mentioned that we're based in Austin, Texas, but we do have programs all over the country. We have them up in North Texas, about 700 or so teachers we're working with in Texas alone. But we have a program that is working with schools, teaching environmental sustainability and youth leadership. We have curriculum and professional development and classroom grants, and it's really about, teaching environmental literacy and getting young people to tackle local environmental challenges in their own backyard. And it was with this program, as we started working around the country, that we saw a need for tighter collaborations and really being able to understand, how can we work with partners who do work that's complementary to ours or similar, and join forces so that this sort of North Star of scaling environmental sustainability education to all youth could become a reality. So we started Gen Thrive a couple years ago as a bit of an experiment. And the purpose of the project was to, first of all, understand the state of the K-12 environmental education movement. How many schools are out there? How many students are exposed to this type of education, whether it's happening on campus and integrated into the formal school day, or whether it's off campus, summer times, informal education? What's sort of the baseline that we're working with? And how can we essentially conduct a massive asset map to understand, a survey to understand what is all the work that's going on among all of our different organizations, and how can we create strategic alliances among one another, as well as across sectors, to universities, to government agencies, to corporate organizations and companies that may have connections to our mission. And then how can we use all of this data to create visualizations that really create compelling stories about the need so that we can increase support for all of our work? So in 2019, we had started this as like I said, as a bit of an experiment. And then in 2020, after getting some traction on the first year, we had worked with various leaders across the state to conduct outreach and survey outreach and distribution to collect information from organizations throughout the entire state. This was everybody from nonprofits to city departments to even some universities who have K-12 programs. We had gathered information from 277 organizations in total throughout Texas. And from those organizations were then asked to give specific program information. So we received almost 400 programs in this survey, which was a bunch of detailed information, which I'll share in a second. And basically, we did a lot of this, as you can imagine, during COVID. And so getting some of this information was a bit challenging. And of course, there was disruptions in not only the schools, but also the organizations working with schools. But we did manage to get quite a few people who participated, and we'll be conducting the survey again later this year and hoping to get even broader participation. When we had asked folks to participate, it was a mix of various kind of folks, both, as I mentioned before, informal and formal sectors, but everybody from teaching, those who teach environmental science, to folks focused on green schools and green buildings, to, on the other side, organizations that were really about getting youth out into outdoor programs and wilderness skills and things like that. We had some organizations that were focused specifically on health and wellness, usually through food and nutrition, and others who we're focused on environmental justice. So it was really sort of a big tent, come one, come all. If you associate with the term environmental education or something in the family, we are asking that you contribute to this massive data collection. So with that information, we had created a website, which the site is here, and I could throw that later in the chat box too when I'm finished presenting. But this is a little snapshot of what the website looks like. And you can see there's 4 different tools that we created. And I will show you a couple of them that I think are most relevant here. But this is intended to be a public database, right? It's something that is interactive. You can search for things that you're interested in. And as we have more and more folks participate and more feedback from everybody, we'll be able to make it as useful and relevant as possible. Oh, I will mention that you'll see these 4 boxes at the top here, and those each have their own little video tutorial. So you could watch that and kind of see how to navigate the different tools. And then the 4 color bars are drop-down tools. They're kind of hidden. You can collapse them and reopen them to be able to search the different tools really quickly. So the first one is a climate equity and education map. And this is through ArcGIS, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. The intent here is that this map is helping us see the relationship between our environmental education programs and climate risks, environmental pollutants, and social vulnerability. So over time, we're going to add more health indicators and workforce development. We do have a little bit right now. But the intent is that we're able to start seeing the connections between our work and mission in the field of environmental education and how that intersects with issues of socioeconomic vulnerability and environmental risks. What you're looking at with the map right here is the 20 education service centers. And of course, Dallas-Fort Worth have 2 right next to each other. But the saturation of the blue teal color indicates the number of environmental education programs that are available in that education service center. So you're starting to see a bit of sort of the density or accessibility of these programs in different regions throughout Texas. And then the red dots are the headquarters of the organizations. So you can see we had quite a few in the big cities. And this is just a little snapshot, but on the map itself, you can actually turn those on and off and look at a bunch of other indicators as well. If you were to zoom into the map, into a specific neighborhood, this is East Austin, and you would be able to find where schools are, every single school in Texas, and then highlight where the environmental education programs are happening, the density of programs happening on each campus, and other indicators. So this red line here is a polluted waterway. The little brown triangles are hazardous waste sites. They're brownfields. And then the little exclamation point yellow diamond is a hazardous waste site. So there's an opportunity here for our programs to be able to look at the schools or communities that we're active in, and then really customize our programs so that students are learning about environmental issues in their own backyard. The second tool that I find really exciting is this Field Trends and Resource Directory. This is created thanks to the Texas Advanced Computing Center at UT in Austin. And this is a public tool where anybody is able to search various organizations based on region, based on what type of offerings they have for schools, whether it's curriculum or professional development or field trips, whether it's during the school day or after school, where the program takes place, et cetera. And it will crunch various charts and pie charts and bar graphs to visualize the data and the trends that are happening in the region that you've chosen. And then you can also, after looking at some of these charts, you can export them. So you can take some of this data and be able to share it with others. And you can also go to organizational records and program records and look at detailed lists of everybody that has showed up in that search. So this is a search for organizations that are based in Austin, serving Austin schools that offer curriculum and instruction materials on campus. 11 organizations pop up, 25 program records, and you can export all of this data as a quick directory for specific searches that you're interested in. So I use that tool to be able to pull some information for North Texas. And here's what we have. We have from Education Service Center 10 and 11. We have 61 organizations that serve that region, and 35 of them have headquarters in one of those two education service centers. So it's 35 local organizations. And of that, 59% are nonprofit, 25% are government. The specific programs that are offered in Education Service Center 10 and 11, there are 131 from folks from across the state that can serve those regions, and 41 unique programs that are from organizations based in North Texas. Within the programs that are offered, so those 131 programs, we have a breakdown of the environmental themes taught. So we see that out of 131, 99 of them teach about conservation. 92 of them teach outdoor learning. You can see STEM education and water is also very high. And then you can also see, conversely, which of the program environmental themes are not taught as much. So we don't see a lot around transportation or workforce development or green building. And there's no judgment on this necessarily, but it is really great to kind of see, like, you know, where might we want to build the next type of programs for schools, or where is there an opportunity to partner with somebody who does something really complementary to us and really, you know, join forces to create more comprehensive programming. Here's a breakdown of the service areas for the organizations. So for those that are based in North Texas, those 35, I think it was, 40% of those are state organizations that serve the entire state. 34% of them serve just the region, North Texas region. Almost 6% only serve the city or the town. So you can kind of just see the scope of these different organizations and what scale they're serving. Here's a breakdown of audiences served. You can see that elementary is the most common. It gets a little bit less as we get to high school. And then there's a number of programs that serve specifically teachers and administrators or the community at large, like family programs. This is data about the program offerings. So again, out of those 130 something programs, 78 of them are directly teaching to students. 68 of them offer instructional materials. There's almost 50 teacher trainings and field trips, and then it kind of dwindles down as we get to things like internships or providing grant funding. We also asked about Title I school participation. So the intent here was to say I guess this data is coming from 2018-19, actually 2019, I'm sorry. And we asked, you know, in this last year, what percentage of your students or teachers came from Title I schools? And so you can see that 46%, almost half, didn't track or don't track where their students or teachers are coming from. 16.8% have like 50 to 75% of students coming from Title I schools. We have 13% that basically have the majority of their students coming from those schools. So it's just interesting to see, again, like, where do we see the trends? Where do we see the intention around serving certain audiences? What can we learn from this information as we work as a community to collaborate and support our students the best we can? And then when programming occurs, we have the majority of folks saying that they serve during the school day, but there's also quite a few programs that are from the summertime or after school that we're also participating in this project. So sort of high level clip notes, there are a lot of different offerings and programs that are available in your region. And the strong focus areas are conservation, outdoor learning, STEM education, and water. There's a pretty fair balance across all grade levels, a little bit less in high school, but all in all, it's not too bad. And there are a lot of folks offering direct teaching, instructional materials for teachers, training, as well as field trip opportunities. some of the gaps are really, getting better data on how many organizations are serving students coming from Title I schools or teachers coming from Title I schools. There could be a lot, but we wouldn't really know because a lot of them aren't, they didn't have the information or didn't know where the students are coming from. And then there's a lot less content focused on food systems and nutrition, workforce development, air quality, green building, and transportation. So I'm going to stop sharing there, and I want to ask whether it would be helpful to jump onto the site itself and sort of show you how it works, or if we just want to leave it at that, open for questions. I could share the link and folks can watch the tutorials.
I just had a question because you said you gathered the data, and was it in 2020 during COVID, or was most of the data you got prior?
The data collection was in 2020.
Okay.
And the question that was specifically about the breakdown of students and things like that was saying this last year, like under last year. And most people were with the school year. So it was, sometimes it was doing the 18-19 school year because they're answering that question mid-1920 school year. And some of them looked at the calendar year. So they just reported on 2019 numbers. Because
I imagine that data might be different, depending on what numbers they were looking at. So will you kind of gather additional data constantly, or maybe after, once we kind of get through the pandemic, whenever that is?
We're going to be doing another round in the summer, probably.
Okay.
Summer or fall. We're going to do our best to get information. We know that this is a weird 2 years, to say the least. But we still want to be able to get some numbers from people and understand which schools are they active in, and to what degree can we help them grow and kind of recuperate and get into schools again. Schools start to normalize as well.
Yeah, because I bet some of that, it'd be interesting to see how that data fluctuates, because it says a lot of them do go to the schools, but now most have all created virtual learning. So it'd be interesting to see how that changes.
Yeah, definitely.
Any other questions?
Do you want me to? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Do y'all want to see the site a little bit, or do you want to just explore on your own? I just want to explore. It's amazing. Like I haven't dove that deep, but that is so great to see where those gaps are in programming, because then maybe like you said, find those other organizations. I mean, that's all what we're about in DCIN and the network is who can we collaborate with to, really connect more families to nature and children. So it's great.
Yeah. And, I've been meeting a lot with Sarah and other folks around, how can we make this useful for all different types of associations and networks of sorts. And this coming survey that we've just finished editing for sort of the 2021 version will include a question asking if you have associations or memberships, affiliations with either, TCIN or TAEE or ANCA or all the various ones that exist.
Yeah.
And that will help us also be able to more tightly find each other, right? Search and find each other.
Right.
Looking ahead at this coming year, we are hoping, this is sort of, again, COVID dependent, but we're hoping to also work closely with the school district and be able to map what are the facilities, green resources, which facilities have gardens or solar or composting systems in the cafeteria or farm to table programs, and be able to work with the district to analyze that data, map that as well, and then create basically a climate equity and environmental education report that shows here are the schools that have access to lots of things, here are the ones that are not as engaged, here are all of the resources that you can bring to your district. Again, formal, informal, I'm using this language in a very formal sense, but anything for youth and families to get outdoors, to be able to learn about environmental stewardship and such. And basically help them prioritize how to be able to get these resources to the communities that currently aren't very engaged or don't have access to it.
And it's interesting you said that, because my son's school, TCU, did a study with his school about compost, did a program, and really tracked all the data of how the kids did, about their composting and in the cafeteria and all that. So yeah, there's I bet you find some good collaborations.
Yeah. Another thing that we're doing is creating a lesson plan or a set of activities for youth to engage in it. So if they're working on an environmental education project, they can use the map to learn about what sort of environmental issues exist in their own neighborhood. And beyond that, we're looking at tools for them to be able to add their own data sets so that they can contribute as citizen scientists and do their own research project. If we have a second, I'll show you a couple of tools. Is that okay?
Yeah, and I did that. It's interesting you said that, because I know at the Nature Center we get a lot of people, kids, either college, right, or high school. Y'all probably do as well, and they come to you and say, "I have this project.
Yeah,
can you help me?" And it's like, "Oh, I'm not the best person, but let me try and find you someone." And it's like, it'd be so nice to be able to say, "Hey, go here and find that connection to help with that project." It'd be great.
Definitely. So this is the site that I threw in the chat box. Here are those 4 different tools in the tutorials. The first one is this map that I was referring to. And I was just showing this to somebody else, so I had it zoomed in. Actually, I was showing it to a PhD student in Dallas who's looking at doing her project on environmental justice. But here, you can toggle these layers on and off. And so if you open up the sidebar here, you can look at, show me every LEED certified school building, or all K-12 schools for that matter. And then you can look at all sorts of things. So looking at, where the hazardous waste sites are, or you can add where the median household income by track. So there's also, and it gets really confusing when you have all these layers on at the same time. But you can zoom in and kind of select which ones you want to look at. And then it tells you where in the legend, what are all these symbols. So anyways, let me turn some of this off so it's not such a mess. But one thing that we've added recently is this little sheet with a star. So you can actually search whatever you're interested in. So you could search like waste, for example, and anything that has to do with waste that's within the database of ArcGIS, you can add to this. So it's a great tool for students to be able to learn about mapping, learn about environmental issues, check out their own neighborhood. It's great for place-based learning. And that will just continue to become more sophisticated over time as we add additional data. The other one here is this resources and trends directory piece. So that takes you to this dash, which I showed you, but you basically can search anything. So if you're looking for programs that are available in Education Service Center 10, Richardson, it'll change all the data for you. So now we're looking at 55 organizations. You can export this data. You look at all the program records, you can export that data. But as a teacher, imagine you could say, I want to look at everything that is available to me in Region 10, and I want to find everything that has to do with conservation, and I want to find field trip conservation focused programs. And maybe I want to find them, when they're during the school day. So then it's whittled down. Here's your organizations that offer that. Here are the program records, and they could continue to search and be able to more quickly find the type of resources that they're looking for. And then we have a couple other tools here that I won't go into, but there's a network map, and this I think will get really interesting as we add associations to it. So you could search and cluster organizations by whether they're, a Children in Nature member. And then there's a climate policy map as well, which is a national map. So anyways, those are some of the goodies that we have right now. It will continue to grow over time, but we're excited to share it with folks, and we really want to hear, how can this be digestible and useful to you? Because some of the dangers of this type of work is that it's too confusing, or it's just like, this is more information I can handle right now. I don't know how to navigate it. And so we would like to be able to build out anything that we can do, whether that's like, how-to worksheets. So we have the video tutorials, but maybe we could take it to the next level, like how to use this for a school and a teacher, how to use this for students, how to use this as a nonprofit service provider. Or ways to facilitate this within regional groups. So folks like us that all have our own programs, how can we use this for our own strategic planning, for our own fundraising, to make a really good pitch to a foundation to fund our collective or fund a certain neighborhood or whatever. It's really sort of sky's the limit. And as you have ideas or wish lists, by all means, I'm all ears and would love to hear your ideas and what can make it useful.
Well, thank you, Gina. I think it's, as someone commented, Anna did, there's so many applications for this. Like, it's amazing of how it can be used. And so you said you're still collecting data. Is there a place people go to fill out the survey, or do you just only send that to folks that specifically you want to complete and share their information with you?
Good question. So we are collecting data, like data layers for the map. We're doing a whole nother round of surveys in the summer, I think. But if there's anybody who's really interested in adding their information that's not on there, I may actually would like you to be a guinea pig for us to use our new survey that we just edited, which has extra information. So we're asking a lot more questions around diversity, equity, and inclusion. We're asking a couple other questions that came up with other partners that we realized was a need that we didn't ask in the first set. So like this sort of like, what networks and associations do you belong to? So we do have that, that should be ready in about a month, and I would be happy to share that. It just won't actually be on the dashboard until the fall. That's the caveat.
Oh, of course. Well, yeah, when you have that ready, send it to me and I can send it out to folks and see who wants to be one of your guinea pigs. Love it. Any other questions? You're getting great comments. Yeah, Dustin saying addition of networks and organizations is great. Wonderful. You already got a volunteer from Charlotte Brett. She can test the survey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we missed the survey this summer, but it's probably better that we get in on this round. We've spent 2020 going through and with the Center for Nonprofit Management creating our own data collecting dashboard. So we're in a better place now to be able to offer up data.
Nice. Thank you.
And
oh, go ahead, Sarah.
Yeah, sorry, I'll turn on my video. When Gina's ready to share the survey this summer as well, I usually send it out through our email. So we'll make sure that it goes out through that way as well. So y'all will probably see it a few times, which is always helpful. Sometimes, you know, you're like, oh, I totally meant to do that. And then it pops back up at the top of your email box. So that's always helpful.
So my own question for representation. I mean, Britton Forward Botanic Garden, we serve a wide variety, but I didn't see any pre-K selections on your breakdowns. I saw elementary, middle, high school, and up. Any
I'm so glad that you asked that.
Include pre-K?
Yeah. So we did get a lot of folks who said other, and they put in pre-K, and I was like, oh, my bad. That was a very clear bias on my end because we don't work in pre-K personally. So we added it to our new survey, and that information is still in people's like the directory side that you saw. You'll still be able to find that. It just doesn't show up as a chart on that one dashboard, but it will in the near future. Stay posted. We actually also added pre-service teachers and university students so that we could capture the training that's happening at that level, which I think is a powerful place to be able to really encourage schools of education to be teaching outdoor education and environmental sustainability to teachers.
That probably hits that internship section in there too.
Yep.
Do you have any plans in the future of branching out beyond kind of the informal science space and then schools to libraries? Because we're seeing libraries wanting to take on a lot more environmental education kind of moving forward.
Yeah, that's really great. I didn't know that. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't participate. I mean, if they're a service provider of any type, they should be on there. They should be participating because it's not about, you know, whether you're a separate nonprofit or as an official nature center or something. I mean, church groups have participated in this. Even city council members have participated, which is a little bit of an oddball, if you ask me, but they're like, well, we do things that have to do with green schools. I was like, all right, then. So it really is open. It's all types of resources and all types of stakeholder groups.
Great. Any other comments, questions?
Or ideas and aspirations for
Yeah.
ways that this could be more useful or put to use in your work?
And I also know, you know, speaking of pre-K, but I also know like libraries, but also hospitals are doing more and more, you know, get out in nature, you know, be healthy, move around, you know, nature's healing, all the research out there. So that's another service provider you might consider.
That's a great point. Wonderful. Well, I'll put my email in the chat box in case anybody has more ideas or just wants to connect on a certain point. And again, I would love to hear your feedback. This entire thing was really built by talking to a whole lot of people and saying, is this going to be useful for you? Would this help you fundraise? Would this help you with school outreach? Would this help you with collaborations and strategic growth and planning? And everyone's like, yes. So,
yes.
but it can go in so many different ways. So it's good to hear from you what would make it useful so that that's what we prioritize.
Well, this is amazing. Thank you so much for doing all this hard work and pulling it together and being with us today. So thank you for your time, Gina.
Thank you. I'm going to bounce off and let you have your
project. Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a good week.
You too. All right. So I guess I will share our agenda. How about that? Make sure I don't miss anything. All right. All right. Well, that was really helpful, right? I mean, crazy, awesome data. Oh, now we see Dustin. Awesome. All right. So next up is Sarah. Sarah has some updates for us statewide.
Yeah, so just a few updates. We talked about Nature Challenge in our last meeting for North Texas, but if you weren't able to make that meeting, we are going to be doing a makeup kind of everyone together meeting, and I'll put that link in the chat if you want to go ahead and register for that. But the survey is live, and so if you already have your Nature Challenge ideas and you want to go ahead and put them up, you are more than welcome to. I'll put that link in the chat too. So that's kind of the main kind of big thing that's coming up. Our other virtual workshops that we have coming up, we've got one at the end of this month that is on the 27th. It's a Project Learning Tree, Project Wild, Project Wet, Texas Aquatic Science, and Texas Wildlife Association. All 5 of those groups offer curriculum that's available to anyone. And so they are going to be hopping onto a call together to kind of discuss the differences between their curriculum, what might work well for different teachers, or if you as an informal are like, I don't understand what the difference is and you want to join, you are more than welcome to. So they're going to be talking about that. That's on the 27th. And then our next webinar is on March 3rd, and it is on green schoolyards. And so kind of what Gina was alluding to, because she's been working with myself and Melody Alcazar and Ann Muller, who are on the Austin Green Schoolyards team. Those two have created a matrix that can evaluate a school and what's already on that campus. And so they can then more easily transition into a green schoolyard because they already have an idea of what they have, how they can use it, and then move forward to create outdoor learning spaces on their campuses. And so they're going to be presenting that matrix. So I think it's going to be really helpful for all of you that are working in that green schoolyard space or thinking about moving towards working in that green schoolyard space. And so those are our big events that are coming up in the near future. Anything else, either Haley or Dustin, I am not thinking of?
No, sorry. I'm back. No, I think you're good because the fishing tournament's not happening. That got moved. Well, hi, Miss Tracy.
Hi. Sorry, bad traffic was horrible, and I tried to get home in time, but
I know everybody's panicked. Everybody's panicked. Oh,
well, I was
winter weather advisory.
I was in Dallas most of the day, so I was
Oh,
able to do that. Yeah.
poor you. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Dallas people, I'm kidding. All right. Okay, so North Texas update. Cheryl, do you have any updates on Olay? Anything new we should know about?
Sure. I can talk a little bit about that. First up, we just finished. We're about to officially certify, but you can find the team of green space designers on the Olay database. So they are available statewide, but they're local landscape design or, you know, outdoor learning environment designers. They're a design build firm, so they do both. They're kind of nice. So if you have schools or child care centers that you know are looking to update their outdoor learning environments, you can send them our way and we can connect them there. If you know other landscape designers or organizations, we're looking for new ones to send through the training. So you can send them my way. I'll put my email in the chat again. And we're looking to open our next set of early childhood training. So if you know early childhood educators that are wanting to be advocates for outdoor learning environments at their campus, if they're looking to use their campus to the maximum potential, and if they're interested in integrating environmental STEM into their outdoor learning, you can send them our way. We hope to open enrollment for the next round of the Early Childhood Impact Series. That'll happen, we'll start those sessions next September, hopefully. And celebration, we're going to break ground on phase 1 of Nature Play at Britt. So yay! Phase 1 is going to be an outdoor classroom. So, and then Nature Play gets to fill in all around that. But we got to get all the plumbing and everything out to the outdoor classroom first. So I think that's it. Educators and designers, send them my way.
Awesome. Thank you. Congratulations. I know y'all been waiting for this. I know it's very exciting. I know that feeling. Oh. Okay, so cities connecting children to nature. So politics is so interesting. Our mayor is not running again, and so for office. So come May, things are going to change. So I'm not real optimistic right now because I don't know who that person is. Once we determine who the mayor is, then we can kind of go from there. But and we're also still waiting, I think, on Sarah, aren't we, on specifics and timing and money and all that?
Yeah, they haven't released the RFP yet, so y'all are not behind the ball.
Okay.
So you're good. I think that they are holding off a bit because of COVID. They're waiting because they know there's probably a lot of cities that are kind of in limbo, aren't really sure. And so they're holding off a little bit too. So with that in mind, though, I saw that Haley, I think you've registered, and Tracy, you've registered. We've got a kind of a lessons learned that our 3 Texas cities are going to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can also put that in the chat, if anyone else wants to register, it's open to all, but it'll be a great opportunity to kind of hear their process of applying, and then also kind of, you know, we wish we had known this when we got started, which is really helpful as well.
Because I know this is challenging. This is a big thing to take on and challenging when you're not in COVID. So I can, you know, and I'm thinking about knowing what we have to do and some aspects of it that it's going to be really hard to do. and you can't meet in person and you can't hash out all the plans. So I hope I'm glad they're thinking through it, and
Yeah.
maybe we need to skip a year.
They are definitely thinking through it, and they want to make sure that it is
Doable or
doable,
yeah.
and that they are setting up all of the cities for success.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
they don't want to open anything up.
Mhm. Yeah.
Haley,
Okay.
I know you and I talked about this first round. I remember this, but COVID has, I don't know, I'm not a good gauge of time anymore when we started talking about this due to COVID.
Oh gosh.
But,
Yeah.
and I don't know, I've stepped back from it, but I'll be glad to help you move in
Great,
with this,
great.
Tony. I want you to know we started it together, and I don't know if we took us, I don't know. But
No, we've been in a holding pattern because we've been
Okay,
waiting
thank
for
you.
them to
Okay.
release all the details, and then I'm trying to get some lessons learned. So Sarah's like, "Hey, I'm just
Okay.
going to do this." I was like, "Thank you," and I don't have to try and get with all these people. So thank you, Sarah. And so yeah, and so now we're just waiting for them to announce the RFP and apply. But there is some stuff we need to be doing now. But now with the elections, it's really hard. And so I hope they're thinking about elections too. You might mention that to them, Sarah. Come May, most cities are having some changes. All right. So we'll see on that. All right. Summer camp discussion. Dustin, I know you heard from some folks who really wanted to talk through summer camp and what everybody's doing and how are you doing it. So I don't know if you want to lead that discussion or not.
Yeah, sure. As we kind of went into the January meeting, and certainly still applicable now, we wanted to kind of get a pulse of where everyone's at and what they're feeling. I know I've seen kind of the full gamut of regular camps as usual to I think I'm the most conservative right now of those that have put them out there. So we just kind of wanted to open a discussion to see where people are at and what they're thinking.
Well, I want to share with you that I had a discussion with Tanya at Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center, and they were moving forward because I know I told Cheryl they're having in-person camps. And so, and then she told me that in January we talked yesterday, and she was saying that at this point, UT has said no in-person camps. And they're trying to look into different things and different alternatives, but that was interesting that I just wanted to share that because I hadn't got a chance to tell Cheryl that one yet, but yeah. So that was, I don't know who else is trying to do in person. Dustin, you probably know that more than anyone, but that one, they've taken a step back now because UT has said, no.
Yeah, I've seen the Dallas Zoo is proceeding with all in person. They lowered their numbers per camp
Okay.
to 10 individuals. Perot Museum does not have a plan yet as of about a week ago. And then my current plan is really a Monday and a Friday on-site experience with their family, and then at home, essentially kits with interactive pieces via Zoom or video throughout the week.
Yeah, and I can share a little bit about that. I know that I had talked to Dustin, but not to everyone. We're in a similar situation. We're putting together kits that will, I hope to encourage a flexible entrance into the garden. I saw this as an opportunity to kind of overcome some of the complaints of camp in previous years that it doesn't necessarily fit with our hours. So having kits for pickup, sort of like a will call system, that encourages families to go through the garden and interact in a way that they might not have thought of before, or that it just seems like a pain to prepare for. So hopefully seeing a lot of self-guided activities happening in the garden. And we'll do one theme a week for about 5 weeks.
Anyone else? Oh, I don't envy all who are having to do summer camps right now.
Well, but I have to tell you, I'm looking at, some schools are doing camps, and we're going to do an outreach with one of the private schools. But the city, I haven't looked into, the city
does them.
I live in Grapevine. Those camps, what they sent out, the catalog they sent to us, man, they're going full steam ahead.
Yeah, I think City of Fort Worth is too as well with their community centers. They offer them at the community centers, and it's at a very discounted rate for families.
Yeah, and they didn't, City of Fort Worth didn't cancel last year either.
So,
Yeah, so it makes sense that they would move forward. I think that with City of Fort Worth, too many people rely on that system for childcare, summer childcare,
Yes, they do.
versus enrichment programs.
Absolutely.
but there's also an opportunity to offer summer field trips to the cities that are offering those kind of opportunities for daycare for our gardens and museums
And you know, if you think about it, usually your summer camps are, you know, limited to number of people, but if you have an in-person and a virtual component, you could have unlimited numbers of kids and revenue. Just saying.
I love your positivity, Haley.
I'm trying.
Love it.
Good for you. That makes me want to be optimistic. Good for you.
I'll be even more optimistic when I get my vaccine. I'm waiting any day now, I hope.
1 or 2?
Just my first
second.
one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm high risk category, so I'm waiting. And so
Okay.
is my mom. So she's at the age. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's slow going. I heard they're now trying to. We won't get into vaccine conversation.
I'm sorry. Didn't
Sorry.
mean.
No, that's okay. No, I could go on and on. I'm sure we all could. All right. Anything else on camps? Anybody have any questions or anything? All right. So let's go to kind of our collaborative connections. I know Sarah had one she wanted to mention, and then we can kind of reach out to all of you guys and see, you know, what needs you may have.
Yeah, so we had an opportunity come up in the last day or so. The City of Dallas Office for Environmental Quality and Sustainability was kind of playing around on our YouTube channel for TCIN and saw that in San Antonio last month we did an evening event where a few of our partners got on and talked about the importance of kids spending time outdoors and kind of what they do as organizations. So it was an hour-long Zoom call. It was pretty short and sweet in terms of just like the partners saying, hey, this is like, we're the Witty, this is what we do to get kids outdoors. And so the Dallas office was really interested in doing something like that for North Texas and before spring break. So kind of show off, hey, these are your options for spending time outdoors. And it really is just an opportunity for our partners. Each of our partners had about 5 minutes, just kind of talk about, hey, these are the programs we offer. This is our website. This is how you can, you know, visit us or do stuff with us online. And so I am open to anyone who wants to participate on that call. I did like the first 5 minutes and just kind of a general overview of like, this is why we think it's important for kids to spend time outdoors. And then transitioned into our partners. So if anyone's interested in joining in on that, let me know and I'll be in touch with Nedra was on the call before and she had to hop off. She's with the Dallas Office for Environmental Quality and Sustainability. And so I'll touch base with her and when would be a good time. And what we did is we offered it registration for free via Zoom, and then we recorded it and put it up on our YouTube channel. So any of you who are partners can definitely share it as well if you want to show what y'all have been up to or so yeah. Sounds good, Tracy.
All right. Any other, anybody have any partnership needs, feedback, questions for the group? Destin, you're the only one I see with their hand physically up, so.
Yes, wanted to share that next week is the ISEA, the Informal Science Education Association of Texas conference. For the first time, it's virtual, which means that we actually have 7 keynotes. So if you've never attended one, this is the most national and international level number of speakers that you're going to see ever. And the registration is super low, $55. And you can still register now. So I just put the link in for the conference. We have the full schedule up now, so you can see all the sessions and the keynotes, and they'll all be recorded. So if you're not available in the afternoons, you can watch it in the weeks following the conference as well.
Oh, that's great. That makes me feel good. You know, back in the day, I won't say how far I was on that board, way, way back. So when I was just forming. So I'm so excited to see it still going strong.
Well, and Dustin, I found out, I told Cheryl today, I know Cheryl's attending, but I found out at the Texas Association for Environmental Educators was offering scholarships, and I applied just to see, and I found out today I was awarded a scholarship. So I'll be.
Yes.
Yeah, so for the first time, they're actually sponsoring one of our tracks. So we're doing an environmental education day. This is our first collaboration together, and we see that this could be an opportunity in the future for those groups to still act independently, but also have opportunities to work together.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that, because I think there were so many years that those conferences were so close together, and so many of us had to choose one or the other.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think
that's a great blend. That's perfect. I really do.
Yeah,
So
back in the day too, I was president of
back in the day.
And yeah, it warms my heart. Sally Evans is on here, and she was one of the original founders in that group, and so it warms my heart. It's still going strong.
I will put my other hat on for a second, and I am on registration committee for
Hey,
ISEA.
Sally.
So if any of you have ISEA questions, please let me know.
Okay, Miss ISEA. Now y'all can see Miss Sally. Yay! So doesn't that warm your heart, Sally? Hearing all these young people talk about TAEE. You're on mute, sweetie. You're on mute.
There you go.
There you go.
When you were talking about in the day, I'm sitting here going, yeah, I remember. Dustin was born. Yeah, was good.
Dustin,
stuff.
you don't need any age. That's discrimination, Dustin.
That's right.
Virtual age discrimination.
Awesome.
I am working with the Collin County Adventure Camp.
Oh, yes.
I've been on their board, and they are trying to keep going, and they keep doing some little programs, and they are working on their summer program, and they're going to try to double their number of buses so they can take kids separately and get them out to camp in a open part. So they're really doing as much as they possibly can to get kids outside this summer.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing. Oh my gosh. I know you have to, we always are trying to be creative, right? And think outside the box. We're having to think outside of, I don't know, the universe at this point to keep
You're just trying
going.
to think about outside, period.
I know, like, how do we get outside? Yeah. And nature's become more important than anything else during all this. So any other announcements, feedback, needs? Anyone? Going once, going twice. Done. All right. Well, thanks everybody. I hope you like this. If you have any ideas of any speakers or anybody you'd like to invite to one of our upcoming meetings, or if one of you want to speak about something you're doing that might be useful for others, let me know. And also anything you want to put on the agenda, definitely reach out. You know, we certainly can talk specifics around anything that you feel are important. And then once Sarah gets me the recording, I'll send that out and some of the other links and stuff and resources that were shared today. All right. Okay, everybody, y'all be safe. Take care and stay warm.
Yes.
All right. Bye, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.